Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going for Two with Jack Taylor. This is an especially happy episode, obviously coming off of the big rivalry week, coming off of Egg Bowl week, the big win. Finally got the golden egg back in Starkville. I forgot to say, I am Jack Taylor.
And I'm Hunter. I'm Hunter too.
Yeah,
This was off tempo. Wasn't comfortable with that, but we're adaptable players. Just pose those.
we're not
positions and we'll make plays.
we're not system podcasters.
No.
Is what you're trying to say.
We're comfortable outside the pocket.
Yeah, something I've always thought we could pride ourselves on. Thanks guys for coming back and listening to another episode with us. Like I said, it's a fun week. It's been good keeping up with Twitter. A lot has happened, and we're super excited to bring it all to you. So I did want to go back to my roots a little bit and start this off with a little bit of motivation. So I guess by the time you're listening to this, it'll be Friday morning motivation, which I think is what we started with.
Sounds right.
Yeah, back in the day. So I got a quote, and I saw it on Instagram Reels today. I think it's a quote from I saw it from Dabo Sweeney. I don't know where it originated from. Surely he's not original. But here's motivational or Friday morning motivation. Do what you can when you can, so that when you cannot, you will not wish that you would have when you could have. And I'm only saying that one time.
Say it again.
Do what you can when you can, so that when you cannot, you will not wish that you would have when you could have. I'm only saying that once. So, yeah. One repeat. Everybody knows the rules. I think that means if you have a chance to get players in the transfer portal, do it now, because you might not always have that chance. And let me tell you, Tulu Griffin is trying hard to get players in this transfer portal. We'll talk about that among other things here in just a little bit. First of all, though, we just wanted to look back at some of the big things that happened last week, other than the Egg Bowl. I know that was the big thing that happened. His first college football game of the week. It happened on Thanksgiving. Everybody watched that. If you're listening to this, you more than likely watched the Egg Bowl. And we're happy about it, too. Sorry, Jess. So just wanted to let you know about a few other big games that happened last weekend. So only going to say this name one time because it's a little bit obscene, but me and Hunter's fantasy football team that we co-managed, CD's Nuts, had a bounce-back win over Jay Cookie's team in fantasy football last week. We clinched the playoffs, but we really do have much bigger goals, and we're not going to settle for second place in the regular season. We're going
It's all about going 1-0 next week.
That's right. We're not going for second place in the regular season. We're going for second place in the postseason as well. So
it's professional mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that we've clinched the playoffs, it's a good opportunity to rest our players, and so they'll be healthy for postseason play. And super excited about that. And Dak, CD, and Michael Gallup, and Justin Jefferson, Cole Kmet, the whole gang, they're getting ready for some of the biggest games of their career coming up. Next, we have a much less important game in the national scene. And that's South Carolina winning the Palmetto Bowl for the first time in 7 or 8 years, I think.
That sounds right.
So they win 31-30 behind just an absolutely uninspired performance from DJ Uiagalelei. Which, did you notice how easy it was for me to say that?
Yeah, it's almost like you don't get paid like that.
Like easily 6 figures to say Uiagalelei.
Yeah. I remember after the game against Notre Dame, when he came in, we watched Kirk Herbstreit say his name 5 times, and then we're like, okay, let's name drop him, and then we just did.
And we have never mispronounced it. But man, it's just painful to hear somebody try to pronounce his name. It's worse than Tua. Uiagalelei. I think it's worse than Tua. Hard to believe. I think that.
Can you say
the
Giannis' last name?
What?
Can you say Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Antetokounmpo.
Okay. It takes minimal effort.
Yeah, but yeah, South Carolina wins that one. South Carolina finishes their regular season with 2 bigger wins than just about anybody in the country has had. So a huge win over Tennessee, and then this narrow victory over Clemson. So they finish strong. They go from unranked to, I think they're now 18th or 19th in the final CFP poll. So they snuck ahead of us, and we'll talk about what that means for our bowl here in a little while. But yeah, Clemson, in a way, had a chance to make it to the playoffs if things had gone right above them, but that chance was taken away from them. So they'll be playing in a New Year's Six bowl, presumably. I guess if they win the conference championship, but I guess nothing's certain for Clemson at this point still. Next game, and Hunter, you undoubtedly watched more of this game than I did,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you can talk about it.
Yeah. Harbaugh has passed up Ryan Day at Ohio State. Ohio State, they're big, flashy, throw the ball all around. That's not really the Big Ten. And Michigan pretty much exemplifies the Big Ten. They played close in the first half, but then in the second half they just kept on leaning on him, and then this game just broke out.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud, I really don't know what to think about him. I've like watched a lot of his games.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you one performance. I was like, wow, that was an outstanding, gutsy performance from him.
Yeah, he's just always the quarterback in the back of my mind that I'm like, yeah, he'll probably be in the top 5 for the Heisman, And I've never watched him play. I don't think I've ever watched. Oh, I watched last year when they played Michigan. So, yeah, I mean, in my mind, his career has been defined by 2 games, and they're both games against Michigan. So, I don't know. He seemed frustrated in his post-game press conference too. Like
he seems frustrated during the games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If I had to choose between him and Bryce Young as my franchise quarterback, what would you do? I mean,
Bryce Young
would it have to be Bryce
Even though
Young?
I'm kind of scared that I've never really seen Bryce Young do a normal play.
He makes the easy plays look hard.
He makes every play look hard, and that's I guess we'll talk about who makes every play look easy a little bit later. But yeah, Michigan without Blake Corum, I think he played 1 snap in this game. He may have gotten 3 rushes. He was out for most of the game, all of it. And Ohio State couldn't even stop the backup, and that's just getting beat up front. He was running through wide open holes, and then Harbaugh and his staff really schemed it up well. So quarterback didn't have to make many hard throws. Guys were wide open.
Yeah. All right. All right. So next game we've got going on here, LSU. I mean, in a way, they had their chance to make it to the playoff if things had gone right. They needed a win here, and they needed a win against Georgia. So I mean, it was far fetched, but I mean they had to get the win here first in College Station, and they were not able to do so. A&M had their game of the year, and who was the quarterback that played for them this week or this past week? Wegman?
Yeah, Connor Wegman.
Connor Wegman, yeah. Man, I don't know what to think about A&M. It's like every time I try to predict a game that they play in, I get it wrong.
Unlike me, I predicted this one. I knew old Jimbo was going to get the boys ready for this one.
He had a few twicks up his sleeve.
The only issue with A&M winning in this way, which, I'm sure it was good for keeping the locker room together, for keeping everyone behind Jimbo. And Jimbo gets a little bit, full of himself. And maybe before this he was like, okay, I'm going to go get an offensive coordinator. I'm just going to run things as the executive, and I'm going to give up play calling. It's time. It's passed me by. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I don't know if that's a hot take, but Jimbo does not seem like the type of guy that would be like, oh, our last game, we executed, the offense works. Let's change that. That doesn't seem like Jimbo. He's gonna keep on preaching the execution and everything, and kind of worried that that's gonna squander next year as well, because everyone clowns on Texas A&M this year, but their freshman class is really, really good.
Yeah.
And they're stupidly young. They lost Anaya Smith, which was huge this year. It's just weird.
yeah, their quarterback situation, there were injuries all around that, and
And they're just bad except for Wegman half the time.
yeah, I mean, Haynes King showed some promise running the football, but nobody could consistently pass it well. You had A-Chain as your bright spot on offense, and I'm sure he'll be gone next year. Right?
Yeah, he should be. I wouldn't come back if I was A-Chain.
Yeah.
I like A-Chain.
Even if he's still in college next year, I don't think he would be at A&M. But yeah, I mean, they had the number one recruiting class in America. I'm sure some of those will transfer if they haven't already. But I mean, I'm sure they've still got a core group of talent. And you know what? It's A&M. I'm never going to be super confident that they're going to be bad or that they're going to be good. I think 8-4 is like an easy prediction for them. This year it was just a big oversight. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to sit here and say that A&M is going to be the same team that they were this year, next year, because they're still going to have talent and they could easily go 11-1, like me and you just said before we started the show. I mean, they play at Tennessee and against Bama in back-to-back weeks, so like they're going to be challenged, but they have all the talent in the world. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, next game we got to look at is Oregon, and they lost the Civil War to Oregon State, and what a weird one. I mean, Oregon was up 31-10 in this game.
I turned it off
late in the third quarter, and Oregon State just starts rattling off touchdowns, and they win 38-34. So this was another one of those upsets. I mean, Oregon had already lost their chance to go to the playoff, but had a chance to get their 10th win of the season, and they weren't able to get it done against the rival.
Pac-12 championship.
Yeah. You had your chance to knock USC off, but Oregon State, a solid year for them, and they capped it off with the most important game on their schedule. So congrats to Oregon State on that one. And Bo Nix, tough end of the season, back-to-back losses.
Is this the last we see of Bo Nix? I'd
have to think so. I'd have to think so. Also, not back-to-back losses, right? They won the week before, but two losses in the last 3 weeks. So, next game, and this one, it seemed like a blowout, but it wasn't the worst game in the world. You did pick this one right from the start. USC beats Notre Dame to keep their playoff hopes alive. The final score 38-27, and it sets up a revenge game against Utah. USC versus Utah in the Pac-12 championship game. We'll pick that one along with all the other championship games later on. But USC, they've got a chance to avenge their only loss, and
a 1-point loss on the road.
A 1-point loss on the road at one of the toughest environments in the country, and they're number 4 now. So it's not like nothing ahead of them has to happen for them to get in. Like just a win and you're in. And speaking of that, so the top 4 as of now.
I want to talk about how good Caleb Williams is. Caleb Williams is the best. I love him. He's gonna win the Heisman. I told y'all. Did I say that 2 weeks ago?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at me.
Ball.
Light work. I knew C.J. Stroud wouldn't show up in the big time. That's why I picked Ohio State to beat Michigan. Okay. Caleb Williams is really good. He was toying with a really, really good Notre Dame defense. It was kind of awesome to watch. He hit the Heisman pose like 6 times in this game, which is awesome. USC is a weird one. They're hard to predict because they have like an overwhelmingly like good turnover margin, which that's statistically not supposed to happen. So like in every model, you have to kind of account for that coming back to, towards league average, but it may just be who they are.
Yeah, right. I mean, I expected Lincoln Riley to turn it around quickly, but not really this quickly. I didn't expect him to be in the playoff.
Didn't you pick him in the playoff?
I mean, I might have at the beginning of the year just because, it would be an easy team
One
to
of us
win
picked
11
Texas,
or 12.
and I know I picked BYU.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
I even if I did pick USC, I only picked it because they were a Pac-12 team. I didn't necessarily pick them because I thought they were going to be just miles and miles ahead of everybody else.
Probably just picked them because Lincoln Riley exists.
Probably so. Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy how quickly this has turned around because USC just hasn't really been relevant in the
I think
last
they won
probably
6 games last year.
10 years. Yeah. So yeah, top four as of right now. We'll move into this. Is Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC. I have it written down here. I think Georgia and Michigan can survive a loss in their championship game. I think they've done enough and have a good enough resume. Like I think they could. Either one of them could lose a close game. Maybe not a blowout, but a close game and still make it into the playoff. TCU, I think the committee is looking for any chance they can to not put them in. And that may not be the case. It just kind of seemed like that. Like they were so hesitant to get them up into that top four, and 12-0, and you kind of have to now.
Beat everyone in your conference because they
Yeah.
play round robin. So
Yeah. And then USC, obviously they have to win. A second loss to the same team, you're going to be out. So USC and TCU, I think they're must-win games for them, and that's how you should approach your conference championship game, no matter what, I guess. But Georgia and Michigan have a little bit of wiggle room. They're up at the top of the four. So we'll like we said, we'll give the picks for these games in a little bit. But what do you think about that? Like, what do you think this weekend's going to look like?
So both of the championship games that matter are, I think, 2 to 3 point spreads. TCU had that stupid win against Kansas State where like the quarterback got injured. They have no quarterback issues right now, so I guess we'll see on that one. You'd have to think, because I mean they have the strength of schedule compared to like almost everyone, just because the nature of the Big 12 and how that ended up working. But the whole Big 12 could be bad. I mean, Tulane beat Kansas State.
Yeah.
Like they could just not be good. But I mean, TCU, you go 12-0, you beat everyone in your conference. You kind of would like to see them definitely be there, even with a loss. But USC, they have to win. If you take a second loss to Utah,
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
I think there could even be a case for them if the team they were playing wasn't Utah. Like, but it would just be the second loss to the same exact team. So, yeah, I think USC, it's a must win, and I think neutral site, it's a game that they should win. So, yeah, is that all we got on the playoff right now?
Except for the teams that would be replacing them.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
So right now we have a really nice looking playoff. You get Georgia. They've been in there a while. They're the dynasty. Michigan, second year in a row. TCU, that's a new entry. And USC. And then 5 and 6, you have Ohio State and Alabama.
Woohoo!
If TCU and USC lose, we get a very not fun looking playoff. It would be Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, because I assume they would do like the Big Ten versus SEC and then Big Ten versus SEC, because that would be kind of fun, at least.
Yeah.
But then that would just end with probably SEC, because Bama can flip a switch.
It's so stupid.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate that, like, we're this far into this and Bama still has like a somewhat decent chance of being in the playoff. And it's all thanks to LSU. So thanks for that.
Yeah. And I guess we'll talk more about future playoff stuff later. Because that's down there. I'm just looking at it on the script.
Yeah, we can talk about it then.
So stay tuned.
All right. So obviously we're exactly a week away, or a week removed from the Egg Bowl, so everybody knows exactly what happened. We're not going to get into super specific stats, but I just want to talk about 3 big things in this game, and I'll give them here: Tulu Griffin, Zach Arnett, and the rain. So Tulu, his impact needs to be felt in every single game. I think he's the one person on this team that deserves to get the ball thrown his way, upwards of 5 times a game, every single game, because anytime he touches it, something crazy happens. he's just such a playmaker. And this is the one play I'm going to mention is not even a play where he was throwing the ball. So Will Rogers gets a strip sack on him, and the ball just goes. Was that a strip sack, or was he like attempting to throw the ball?
I think it was a strip sack.
Away, a strip sack, and it goes towards the sideline. Ole Miss has like one of the easier scoop and scores you'll see. I mean, it was just an Ole Miss player, the ball, and 20 yards of green grass. And then all of a sudden, Tulu jumps into frame and comes bounding in and saves the ball, saves a turnover, saves a touchdown, and
then we get a good punt off the bat, right?
Yeah, and they don't score because of this, because of Tulu. They don't end up scoring off of this. So yeah, it just his hustle at all times, whether it's on kick return. I mean, we've seen him on punt returns a little bit. Obviously, when he catches the ball and on offense, but this right here just shows how valuable of a player he is. He also did catch a touchdown pass at the end of the first half. That was probably the biggest drive of the game. I thought he just seizing a little bit of momentum going into halftime, knowing that we were going to get the ball back right at the half. I mean, that was huge there, and credit to Will Rogers on that drive, but Tulu is the one that capped it off. So the next thing I want to bring up, Zach Arnett, who has kept us in every single game or just about every single game that he's coached here at Mississippi State. As a defensive coordinator, he is just one of the best. And for a while there, 2020 and maybe even early 2021, we had this trademark break but don't bend kind of defense. Like big plays could gouge us, but nobody was going to pick us apart little by little. And we kind of turned away from that. It may not have seemed like it in the Egg Bowl because Ole Miss is really good at getting to the red zone, but then
they're really, really good in between the 20s.
Yeah, and then they get there, and a combination of them being really bad in the red zone and us just standing our ground and
Lane
being really
not
good.
giving it to Judkins.
And Lane's terrible decision making, not kicking field goals when you're inside the 20-yard line.
As a nerd, I think I have to agree with him. Sorry.
Well, as a nerd, 3 points is greater than a 2-point deficit.
Sorry.
I know. Hey.
Nerd stuff. It was raining.
I know.
Lane, keep on making those decisions.
For our sake, please keep making those decisions. Yeah, I get the analytic part, but it's easy to look back after games and be like, well, 3 points would have helped you there. But yeah, Ole Miss, they came in averaging 280 yards per game, not to mention almost a 400-yard performance against Arkansas.
That was rushing yards, just not total yards.
Yeah, right. 700-yard performance, 400 of them rushing yards, by the way. So yeah, coming off of their biggest performance of the year, even though they got blown out. I mean, just a ton of yards for Judkins and Evans, and we held them to 78 yards. Now Judkins had somewhere in the 90s, but he never broke off any big runs. I know we saw Zach Evans a time or two, but he had 0 yards. And I really just am curious to see or to know what Zach Arnett saw that led to this kind of performance from our defense. I mean, we've been a solid defense all year, probably, easily top half in the SEC, I'm assuming. But what on earth was that? That was such a great game for our defense and Zach Arnett. And from things that I've seen in interviews from him, it doesn't seem like he wants to be anywhere else. I mean, this seems like it's his job until he just doesn't want it anymore.
So big boy school comes and calls.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be making a lateral move as a D coordinator. Because here you have an offensive-minded head coach that wants nothing to do with your defense.
Yeah.
So you just kind of do it all.
Yeah.
Leach doesn't talk to your guys. You just go do it.
Yeah. So you're not getting that Saban interaction where he's
the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, where he's and screams at the D coordinator when things don't go correctly. I mean, Leach doesn't have screaming in him at all. So you don't have to worry about him.
He'll take down chairs though, and then someone will put him right back up right behind him.
Yeah. Football guy, But yeah, this seems like a perfect job for Zach Arnett. And if a team like Alabama comes calling, or LSU, or anywhere really, I mean, you could name your school that's better than Mississippi State. There's several of them. I'm not gonna be upset for him. I'm gonna be really really proud of him. Me and you even said, if Ole Miss makes some really weird decision and brings in Zach Arnett as their head coach, obviously it'll be weird, but you're just gonna be happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the last 3 years, he has been the bright spot of our team. When there hasn't really been a bright spot, he's been it, and this defense has been really good. So, got a lot of good news about our defense coming up in a little bit. But just to close out this Egg Bowl talk, the rain was huge. I saw on Twitter that it started raining right during halftime, if not just a little bit before the half. It was kind of a damp day the whole day, but it started raining pretty good at halftime. And I was kind of worried because I was like, obviously, doesn't look like we're changing our scheme based on the weather. I know it's been wet all day, and we're still trying to pass the ball. But as soon as it came out of the half, and maybe a drive or two into the second half, it seemed like we were pretty much committing to the run, and that seemed to be the trend that led us to victory. Woody and Dylan, they combined for 149 yards. I think Dylan also had a few catches for 50 yards through the air. So, I mean, a really big game for him.
And they were battling. Like, none of these yards were easy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there were too many just like breakaway runs to contribute to that. I mean, they were all hard fought. Like
Dylan's one after the play.
Yeah, like that, the one that he kind of definitely hit the one pylon.
That scored.
Yeah.
Then they got a makeup call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, besides that one, I mean, which I think that was like a 35 yard run.
24.
24. Okay, yeah. I mean that. Not too many like breakaway runs, like I said. I mean, they're all between 5 and 10 yards probably, and
they just more than Judkins. More breakaway runs than Judkins. So
exactly.
That's pretty good.
So definitely did not expect us to outrush Ole Miss in this game, and obviously that was the key. Being able to establish the run in the second half was huge because Will. I mean, it's no surprise, it's not a surprise to anybody listening. Will did not have his best game. He threw a really really bad interception, just kind of a off his back foot throw that he never had a chance to be complete. He almost fumbled on one scramble that he had, which he scrambled more in this game than he did his entire career.
He's a warrior.
He's a warrior.
And you know what else he did?
What?
He pulled it when we ran zone for like the first time ever, and I've been praying for him to do that. I've been like, I just want to see it one time.
Lord, I've seen what you've done for others.
I wanted to see what it would do for our run game. I will be taking a stand against Will pulling it when we run zone for the foreseeable future. After fumbles at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, it seemed like early in this game, Jackson Dart would take it when it was definitely not the right read, and Will Rogers has never taken it, whether it was the right or the wrong read. But now we know why Will is not comfortable running the ball. So in this game alone, Will scrambled one time, got put flat on his butt, and as soon as he touched the ground, the ball came out. So obviously that was not a fumble. He ran on a 4th down conversion and ran just straight out of bounds. That was one of my low points of my life.
What if he would have thrown it like KJ did?
I would have been happier. Somehow. At that point, just arm punt it, please. I guarantee you Ole Miss's DBs are not smart enough to just bat that ball down. Just arm punt it. And
No, but like runs past the line of scrimmage.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Just making sure we're on
any of these options would have been better. It
would have been funny.
Yeah. So those couple things, and then there were 2 strip sacks. One Tulu saved, the other Tulu didn't save. One pulled it on the zone, and you know what? This is where I want to bring up Ball Don't Lie. So if you're not familiar with Ball Don't Lie, it's when a bad call or something goes against one team. when something weird happens, a bad call or just a weird play, you can bet your bottom dollar that unless you're Alabama, within the next 5 plays, or I'll say 5 minutes, something will happen for the other team to get revenge. And it's not the referees. Sometimes it is the referees giving a makeup call. Sometimes it's a combination of a makeup call and just a stupid
weird
play.
energy.
But it is the universe returning the ball to its rightful owner, and so
we're not going to give them a 99-yard drive.
We're not gonna go into the play that resulted, because I guess we can. But so it was a sideways pass that was called incomplete. That
I mean, go when the lights get bright.
That then, for some reason, because of an inadvertent whistle, Ole Miss was going to get a second chance at first down, which that should never have been the call.
I don't think there was even a whistle on the field. Like,
I don't really know. I mean,
why would the guy calling for backwards? Because that's the guy that they pointed at and oh, look, he's going for his whistle. Like, why would he blow a whistle when he called it back? I think they messed up the call on the field by saying inadvertent whistle, because I don't know if there was one. Just seemed kind of weird.
Like, there's also no way to explain what clear and immediate recovery is.
It's based on vibes.
I was trying to explain it to my family, and then I realized that there's no way to explain that to anybody.
Oh, you're like, did he recover it clear and immediately?
Hey, Jet Johnson was rewarded with a fumble recovery for being a nice guy and picking up the football and returning it to the referee.
Is that the second fumble recovery of the day?
No, we only had one turnover.
Okay.
But yeah, in that play, it is the right call, I guess, because of the clear and immediate recovery being like super vague. But Ole Miss has every right to say it was a bad call because their players were punished for not picking up a ball that they assumed was dead. So yeah, I mean, anyway, we get the ball. Dylan Johnson definitely touches the pylon with the football, and it's called down.
And then they put it on like the full 1 yard line.
Yeah, that was the worst part about this. And nobody, like my family was like, "What are you talking about?"
Like it should be on the half-inch line. It should be
on the inch-yard line, please. So yeah,
we didn't talk about that, but I'm glad we both agree.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. But anyway, you know the rest of the story. Will fumbles the ball on a zone read, and I saw it happening. I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt Ole Miss was going to pick this up and have a 100-yard scoop and score and be back in the game. But thankfully, their player didn't wait for the ball to travel into the end zone.
They didn't wait for Tulu to go run at it.
He gets down at the 1. I'm thinking, a safety and we're out of here. But no, a 99-yard drive with 2 miraculous fourth down conversions. One good pass of the day and one great catch of the day by
with the holding
11.
in the end zone mixed in here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We didn't talk about that one either.
Not gonna forget about that one. Yeah. So one good throw by Dart, one good catch by number 11. I don't know what his last name is, and then a good little.
Is that the Western Kentucky kid?
Yeah, it is. And then the outside run by Judkins, probably might have been his biggest run of the day.
Should have been doing that more.
Fourth down conversion. All led up to a wide open touchdown for them in the end. And then Randy Charlton.
Wait. So this whole time, Lane has 3 timeouts, and they're managing the clock so well that they don't have to use any of them. They've driven down the field.
Because they're massive tempo, like just crazy tempo.
And they've got it down pretty well. Okay, so it's... It's 1 minute and 25 seconds left. Lane has 3 timeouts. Down 2. If you don't get it, you have 3 timeouts. You can still get it. And this whole drive, you have known that you need 8 points.
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
So offensive mastermind, know that there's a 2-point play. And, got to think on it. Okay, we get to that time. It's that time of the game. They go out there. I thought it was a pretty good look. Calls first time out. I'm like, okay, cool. Don't know why you did that. Seems kind of weird. And then there was like a long commercial for some reason. Then they come back out again. He calls another timeout.
At this point, I'm like, what is happening? Like, they have something exotic called for this.
And then they come out again, and they do the thing that only works for Kansas City, because it only takes one player noticing what's happening to mess up this play. The play can fool 10 people. It's got to fool 11. And Randy Charlton was number 11, and he was not fooled. Played it perfectly, swatted it down. Mingo didn't get his moment. He probably would have dropped it. I mean, if we're being honest, that would have been funnier.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't even think about that.
I think the funniest thing would have been Jalen Green lighting him up for the third time.
And you know what's the worst part about that play call? Is
what?
That play call, you do that on like second and goal, first and goal. Because if it gets knocked down, that's a forward pass. You just go on to the next down. It's nothing. You just toss it in there. No, it's a 2-point conversion.
This is the game.
The entire game. You have Judkins.
Yeah, and Randy Charlton. I know in plays like that, it is kind of confusing to remember. Like, is that a pass? Is that a lateral? Whatever. Randy Charlton picks up the ball, and then when he realizes like it's dead ball, he just goes 20 yards and slides like it's a baseball game, which just added to a lot to the scenario. I thought so. Randy Charlton just solidifying his name in some Egg Bowl lore there. And I think it's his first Egg Bowl, right?
Second.
I mean,
second.
Okay.
It may be third.
Maybe so. I'm not sure how long this has been here.
He may be timeless.
This may have been his fifth Egg Bowl.
Speaking of fifth Egg Bowls, Austin Williams had like his seventh.
And he didn't screw this one up. So 2-year streak of no accidents for him in the Egg Bowl. Not in football games. All reliable. All right, so the Egg Bowl happening a week ago, you may be like, not much has happened in a week. You may not be like that. And if you're not like that, you're absolutely right, because a lot has happened in the last week. Man.
This is the longest segment we've ever had on this show.
There's
what has happened in the last week.
And it's not all about football. It's not all about Ole Miss and Mississippi State. There's a lot about everybody.
Big things.
All right. So after this game, Ole Miss turned on Lane Kiffin. Auburn turned on Lane Kiffin. Everybody started realizing, like, wait a minute. Mike Leach has beat this many ranked teams in his 3 years here, and Lane Kiffin
doesn't play with other teams and try to like.
And does he might have posted a noose on Twitter one time, but at least he doesn't
that was less distracting than Lane in the past 3 days.
Yeah, at least he doesn't spend his team's biggest week of preparation of the whole year just calling out local TV reporters for reporting what I can only assume was true facts at the time. So Lane Kiffin, like, everybody was turning on him. He seemed like really, really sour in his post-game press conference, like still calling out said TV reporter. He just wouldn't let it go. And at that point, he finally said he plans to be Ole Miss's head coach the next year, which those words mean nothing until something is signed. But then Saturday afternoon is when we heard the news, and I'll let you take it away from here because you've kept up with this way more than I have.
So the whole time, there's a law in Mississippi, most corrupt government, that you can only have 4-year deals as a public employee, and that is supposed to curb, corruption. I guess it's a good law. I guess doesn't seem to do much, but then the report comes out, and initially I think it said 8-year, and it was some amount, $9 million a year or something, and I was like, huh? Like, Like,
That's not allowed.
That's not how that works. And then little by little more comes out about it, and it's 4 years, and then they have their private. I forgot the verbiage for what it is. Backing the two extra years on top of it, and then there's 2 years of rollover language, which I don't know. That's sketchy. Seems financially irresponsible for Ole Miss. You notice A&M can't fire their coach, right?
Yep.
Like,
I don't know how you can watch what I saw on Thursday night last week and say, yeah, what Ole Miss did tonight was worth $9 million a year for 1 year, much less for 8. I can't look at what Mike Leach drew up and say that's worth $5 million a year. Like you can't convince me of that. I would take Lane Kiffin over Mike Leach 7 days out of 7. I really would.
I may be down to 6 days out of 7.
Yeah, the one day I would take Mike Leach over Lane Kiffin is when it's last Thursday, and just all of Egg Bowl week. I think Lane's a good coach. I think he's talented. Whatever, but
maybe overrated.
It's starting to seem that way. And $9 million a year.
$9 million is a lot.
Whether he's overrated or not, he's definitely overpaid now. So, we'll see what the future holds for Ole Miss. It was a hilarious 24 hours.
That was a very fun night.
Yeah.
All the Ole Miss fans being like, I hope Auburn will still take him. And
yeah. And Auburn won't.
That's what it appeared to be. I guess we'll get into that one now.
And if you thought that Auburn was going to roll over and not be part of this fiasco just because they weren't getting Lane Kiffin, oh boy.
They hired someone worse. Hugh Freeze is back, everyone. All women across the world. I'm sorry.
They did a background check and then said, you know what? In this background check, I found out he beat Nick Saban twice in a row, so you're hired.
I would be okay. I'm angry at this hire because of one thing, and this may come off a little weird. If you're gonna hire Hugh Freeze, don't tell me how godly he is. Just tell me he beat Bama.
That's the reason they hired him.
I don't show me the sketchiest coach with like the no, don't tell me. Also, he acts like Liberty was like purgatory for where he was. He's like, I've served my time at a Christian university.
I did like the backhanded whatever it was
at Ole
against
Miss.
Ole Miss. Yeah, he's like, I think I've definitely leapfrogged from where I was before. You have. You're here, and I can't wait to see how this explodes. They're saving grace.
Did Hugh Freeze beat Nick Saban in the 2 years that they were egregiously cheating?
I know they had Kondichi brothers on their team, so
14, yeah. Yes. I'm not sure about 15. Hugh, everyone can pay players now. Not sure if they can do the other things. There may be NIL for that. I don't know.
Auburn's saving grace right now is that Cadillac Williams is staying on staff as the associate head coach and running backs coach.
They forced him to. Caddy can't be happy. He seems like a nice guy. He wouldn't like Hugh. Did you see the picture of them meeting in the locker room?
Was it weird?
I'm gonna search for that real quick, and then I'm gonna send it to you, and I want you to look at his pants.
Hugh's pants?
No, Cadillac's.
Okay. This is good podcasting.
It's a little weird. I don't know what to think about this. Brandon Walker pointed this one out.
Is it coming on Snapchat?
Yes, I just sent it to you. Just look at his pants.
It's sweatpants with a belt.
There are drawstrings. There's a few theories on this one. Either those are comfy, like sweatpants that happen to have belt loops that you're not supposed to use, or the other option is
He's wearing sweatpants under his suit pants.
no, he's wearing shorts under there. He was sitting in the office with shorts and a t-shirt on, and Hugh was like, "Whoop, we got to take a picture for Twitter," and then he just threw on like the closest pair of pants and the closest shirt, and and that's
There
how
you
this
go.
picture was made, which is,
Yeah.
is my favorite option here, but it's a little interesting.
Mhm.
I don't know,
There you go.
podcasting.
That's funny.
Hope everyone follows along with us on that one.
Yeah. So Hugh Freeze, I never thought that he would be back in the SEC. But you know what? It's a circus out here. So also saw that he was planning on donating half of his salary to charity, but only if she's working that night. He might have to give it to Destiny. So, all right. Next coach in this whole fiasco. Not in this fiasco, but in I
This
guess
one's
he's
good.
loosely,
This is
loosely
good.
he was loosely tied to Auburn.
And Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss, yes. But Dion has cleared his name from either of these two dumpster fires. And he is going to one of three places: Colorado, South Florida, or Cincinnati. That's a new development, I guess.
I guess or Jackson State, maybe. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he does have sons that play there. So, but yeah, I mean, good for Dion. I'm super excited to see where he goes. Cincinnati would be wild, because Luke Fickell just went to Wisconsin.
Which is awesome. I love that. That's not even on the list. Oh, Luke Fickell to there. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so sick.
Also, Trent Dilfer to UAB.
And
so-
Tom Herman to FAU, which is really
Ooh.
cool.
I didn't know that. Yeah, Trent Dilfer has coached 3 years at a high school level, and now he's coaching Power 5. So
Not
not Power 5, Group
Dummy.
of 5. I'm an idiot. I'm sure there'll be Power 5 at some point because conferences are stupid. But yeah, so Dion, wherever he goes, they're going to be successful in the next
Out of
3
those
years.
three, which one would you prefer him to go to?
Colorado.
I want to see him ride his bike next to Ralphie.
Yeah, that would be pretty sick. Yeah, I just wanted to be Power 5. Like that's the main reason I picked Colorado.
I don't know how he could take USF.
No, I don't. I think that would be the least of the options. All right, so now we're getting into really important stuff. Emmanuel Forbes, he announced today, on Thursday, that he is going to forego his final year of eligibility, and he's going to go into the NFL draft. So we've seen our last of Emmanuel Forbes, assuming he doesn't play in the bowl game, which he could. I mean, he may be really hungry for another pick six to claim the record as his own. But yeah, another big thing of him in this. What am I saying? Oh yeah, in this past week, I'm getting there, man. Some big news for Emmanuel Forbes. Not listed as a finalist for the Thorpe Award for the best defensive back in the nation. An absolute robbery. Just ridiculous. And it's not because the other three guys aren't good. It's not because they don't play competition. It's a guy from Utah, TCU, and
Illinois, I believe.
Illinois. Like, they play as
Maybe
as
better.
good competition. Possibly better. I mean, better receivers, I think. And Emmanuel Forbes just trumps their numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
has 6 interceptions, 3 pick sixes, like 15 passes defended, 6 yards after catch on the whole year. Like, just ridiculous numbers. And I mean, he's just one of the better, or probably the best cornerback in the country. Definitely deserved to be a finalist. I think he deserved to win it. And he's gotten a lot of support from around the SEC this year, just in the past week. So it's been cool to see that people really did notice it. But the Thorpe Foundation or whatever did not include him as a finalist. So that kind of sucks, but it's going to be a chip on his shoulder as he enters the NFL, and I'm sure he'll be on on another list of cornerbacks from Mississippi State that are very successful at the next level. So
how many interception return yards do you think he had on his career?
Do you know the answer?
Yes.
I'm
He had 14 interceptions in his career.
450.
390.
Wow, and like 90 of that was that Tulsa one.
Austin Williams had 269 receiving yards this year.
But yeah, I mean, just an all-time robbery there. I know Martin Emerson recently has kind of been discovered as
he's so good,
one of the best corners in the NFL, and is he a rookie this year?
Yeah.
Okay, rookie this year. So
Sauce Gardner is kind of an issue though. He's really, really good, so it's taken a little bit of the shine away.
Yeah. I think this past game against Mike Evans and Tom Brady has been like just enough to put the country just like put him on Martin Emerson. So having those two on the same team for the past couple of years has been insane. And Martin Emerson didn't really get any national attention either. So Emmanuel Forbes has gotten a little bit more than he did just because of the pick sixes and things like that. But just an all-time robbery, and I'm not going to get over it for a while.
Yeah.
So next thing on the list, Tulu Griffin, head of recruitment on Twitter. Any player, I guess in Power 5, but I mean there have been some like group of 5 FC. I saw some like FCS schools. Like anybody who puts their name in the transfer portal, Tulu Griffin is like aroused. Certifiably aroused.
Jack, you know how we like looked through his tweets earlier?
Yeah.
There's 3 more since we started recording.
Oh gosh. Can you just read a few?
Yeah. Andre Thomas Jr. I think is in the transfer portal from Southern Arkansas University.
Mm-hmm.
Tulu tweets, "Hey, I want to race him at practice. Maroon, white, dogs on top soon." Some A&M player goes. He says, "Talk to me," and then there's another one. "Yes, sir. I need 'em," with the face that yeah.
Tulu is aroused
I am
by the players in the transfer portal. That's all I can say.
I'm gonna read this one. I want to play with DeJuan Black. I need him here. I love Tulu.
I love him. He's going to be the best slot receiver in Mississippi State history.
He's going to be our Cadillac.
Mm-hmm. He's never leaving. He's not even going to think about the NFL. He's just going to go straight into recruitment. So, I kind of thought at the end of this year, I don't know why this crossed my mind, but I was like, if I'm Tulu, I'm looking to be in the transfer portal because, like, I don't think his talent is even, like, I don't think we're even scratching the surface on what we could get out of him. I mean, we put him on kick return. I think we could put him on punt return and get him the ball, like, a lot more times a game. I was thinking he might could go somewhere where that could happen. I don't think he's ever leaving. So, yeah. Tulu, head of recruitment on Twitter. It's been really, really fun to see. The next thing I want to talk about from Twitter is the run it back tweets. We got in run it back tweets. We got one from Bookie Watson, Nathan Pickering, Jordan Davis. We got one from Crumity, from Cam Jones. I haven't seen one from Jet Johnson, but I've seen a lot of
I'm
talk.
not sure if he has Twitter.
I don't know. He doesn't really seem like a social media guy. He just first one in, last one out. He doesn't have time for that mess.
Real lunch pail type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had one of those moments for a while.
Yeah, right. So our defense, like pieces are coming back like crazy. Like we said, we did lose Emmanuel Forbes with his not gonna run it back tweet earlier. Um, but yeah, so
Sorry, I'm updating part of
yeah,
our
I'm
thing.
reading that. Yeah, I think you might be.
I believe I'm right. Theo made an oopsie in his tweet, so you
Okay.
can continue reading.
Gotcha. All right. So, but yeah, defensive line is coming back together. Jalen Green as a safety is out of eligibility. LaQuinston Sharp on the offensive line and Caleb Ducking. I think they're all out of eligibility. We're waiting to hear from Dollar Bill, Cole Smith, Jackie Matthews, and Colin Duncan. So our secondary and our offensive line could be like pretty much the same except for Forbes. So yeah, the transfer portal will be huge. Tulu's efforts will be. I mean, we're very grateful for those because we'll need some. I mean, there's not a spot on the field where I say like we can't get better.
Yeah.
I mean, we could
Maybe running back. I kind of love him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're deep at receiver, but I'm not ever going to turn down
I would like a
a
number
transfer
one
portal
guy.
wide receiver. Yeah, Rara had a chance to become that guy this year, but he led the team in yards, but there's a lot of touches to go around. So, really, really excited to see. The ones we know are gone are Tyrus Wheat, Cam Young, and as we've said, Forbes. They're all
And maybe Ducking.
and Ducking. Yeah. So I know Cam Young and Tyrus Wheat have both accepted Senior Bowl or Shrine Bowl invitations. So excited to see what happens with them, but even more excited to see what all we're going to have back next year because it seems like we're going to be the most experienced team in the SEC.
I think all of our kickers and punters are gone.
Well, all of them. This was like their first year here anyway. So
Yeah, but Biscardi ended up being kind of good.
yeah, you're absolutely right. 5-star kickers just kind of grow on trees. So
Just go grab another one. Pretty
I'm
sure
sure
we
Jace-
have one in Starkville right now.
I'm sure
Five-star
Jace Chrisman
is kicking around somewhere.
I'm sure he has some eligibility somewhere. I actually know he doesn't. Yeah. So all of this, I have to believe, is pointing to the fact that our NIL is just popping off. What is ours called?
Bulldog Foundation,
Something like that.
I think. Yeah, BI, the Bulldog Initiative.
Bulldog Initiative. Yeah, that's what it is. Charlie Winfield, who's one of the announcers and for baseball and maybe sometimes football. He's one of the big ones heading that up on Twitter and getting a lot of donations. But right before John Cohen left, he kind of bashed our NIL program for not really doing much. And since then, it has, I don't even know what it's like exponentially grown.
Like kind of hilariously.
I know at the Auburn and Georgia games, which are the two of the 3 home games that we had after Cohen left, we had a tracker on the scoreboard that said NIL money gained since 12 p.m. Saturday, this day, like the exact time that John Cohen left. And it was just an ever going up ticker on the scoreboard. So that was petty, and I loved every second of it. So also, a theory that I have is that all these players, defense especially, wouldn't be coming back and wouldn't be signing up to play another year of college football when they could try their chance at the NFL if our coaching staff wasn't staying together. I think Zach Arnett has in some way probably guaranteed that he's going to be back next year. These guys seem to love him, and the pressure that he sends with all these guys on our D-line, linebackers, corner blitzes and whatever. They just love this defense apparently. And I'm super, super glad that I hope that's the case. On the offensive side of the ball, I mean, I think it's kind of a unique chance to get to play for Mike Leach, and I think that's going to be a big thing in the transfer portal as well. Kind of has been receivers wise for the past couple of years, and if we can just improve that offensive line, I mean, we're already going to be experienced, but like we said, there's not a position on the field that we don't think we can get better at. So, get some tackles in the offensive line, and let's have a fun year next year.
Yeah.
It's a very favorable schedule. If you want to pull up the schedule, we can kind of talk about that before we
I
move.
think we have a question later.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so the last thing about college football, I think, probably not the last thing, but the NCAA did announce a 12-team playoff will be coming in 2024. So I know we just talked about having an experienced team and a favorable schedule next year with 8 home games. And the year after that will be when a 12-team playoff starts. So
Obviously,
we will no doubt finish somewhere between 5 and 12 next year and be really, really upset that we didn't do it a year later. But
man, the Sugar Bowl is gonna be dope though.
yeah, I will see y'all in New Orleans. But yeah, what do you think about that, Hunter? Obviously, you think it's a good thing, right?
I'm a little wary on it.
Are you? Okay.
Like I really like the idea of the postseason being better, and it will be by like way more.
Mm-hmm.
But for this to not take away from the regular season, which is like that Michigan Ohio State game, it was all the tension in the world. Like they couldn't lose it. Either way. Clemson losing to South Carolina, like that's massive at that point.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose games like that, like from those big teams. I don't want to lose like them having to claw for their spot. But also this adds so many more in like that second tier of team.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Florida State-Florida game would have been probably more important. I mean, Florida State looks really, really good right now. And like that game could have been something like, okay, go do this with style points and you could be up there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just kind of weird. The conference championships are going to matter a whole lot more, which is great because this year only 2 of them matter.
And it's like the actual conference championship games, right? Like not like regular season champions.
Yeah, it's the games. Everyone's going to get rid of divisions, so that'll probably be pretty good. Just kind of worried about the massive games that instead of being for are you going to compete for a national championship or not, will you be a 12 seed or a top 2 seed?
Yeah. Well, I think what is the most redeeming quality about it all is that we're going to get they're not going to be neutral site. The playoff games aren't going to be neutral site until probably the top 4. Is that how it works?
No, the first
6?
round is all, and then I'm not sure. Yeah,
Okay.
The first round is.
I just thought the
home,
top 4,
and then the semifinal games are, like your typical access bowls.
Okay, gotcha. That kind of sucks that the top 4 teams won't get to host games then. Right?
Yeah, everything should just be like college baseball.
Yeah. The college baseball we determine is the best of both worlds when it comes to postseason because you get the on-campus games and series, and then you get to go top 8. Top 8 goes to Omaha. But yeah, so teams, I guess 5 through 12 will play on campus at the higher seed stadium. So I mean, this opens up an opportunity for like a slight opportunity for us to host a playoff, like a college football playoff game in Starkville, which would be absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
I can't imagine that.
I mean, it would easily become the most important, the biggest game that's ever happened in Starkville. And I mean, it could happen if the schedules and years of veterans, whatever, if it all lines up. I mean, we could do that. And that's kind of realistic.
Yeah, and building
and
up
that's never
for a
been realistic
10-2
before.
Building up for a 10-2 season is kind of what we've said is what Mississippi State should do. Like you're 8-4, you get a good team of veteran players, fill in holes with the transfer portal, and then you make your jump when you have a favorable schedule. Or, it doesn't even matter about the schedule at that point. And with it coming up where we're not having divisions, if we get a good draw in certain years, like if we're not playing Alabama and Georgia in the same year, every year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every other year at that point, we have a shot. We have a shot that there's 2 losses that were on our schedule the year before that aren't going to be there. If both of those teams continue to be the top 5 teams in the country.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
it's
the winners of the divisions being gone are everybody in the SEC West, not named Alabama, and the Tennessee Volunteers.
I believe LSU has won this.
Wait, what?
I think LSU has won the conferences, the divisions not being anything. Because I don't think they're going to be on Alabama's list.
No. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm almost just as excited to see what the video game is like in 2 years, because it'll be coming out the summer before the first season where we have a 12-team playoff.
Oh my god!
So, will the first season that you play on there have 12 teams? Will it have 4 teams? Will you get to choose?
Can you do 64?
Can you just not have a regular season and just be one and done?
Can you have a 132 team bracket?
Jeez. Ridiculous. All right, so moving away from college football for a few seconds here. Our basketball team is ridiculous. I'm not going to say ridiculously good. We're just ridiculous. We're 7-0. Don't remember the last time that happened. It was probably not that long ago, but it seems like it's been a very long time. We're 7-0. We've not allowed more than 55 points in a game. So let that sink in.
That's silly.
We beat Marquette, who has since destroyed number 6 Baylor, who has a national championship in the last 2 years. Do not ask me about our offense. Do not. We shot 20% against Utah, who, funny enough, tonight beat Arizona by like a lot. And Arizona's a good basketball team. So we're beating the teams that are beating the teams. But does that make us the team?
We're going to look at this year and we are going to be the transitive win, like, team of the year. It's just going to be like, wow, they have a transitive win over Kansas somehow.
Our season, for the SEC at least, our floor is 1-17, and our ceiling is 17-1 because we are not beating Ole Miss twice, and we're not losing to Ole Miss twice. We will win in Starkville, and we will lose in Oxford unless Chris Jans finds the secret of how to play with a Nike basketball.
Have we talked about the team entering through the student section yet?
I don't think so.
Is that still a thing?
I don't know why they would stop.
All indications are is yes. That's cool.
I wish they would make the away team do it. Make the away team walk through like the old people crowd.
That'd be pretty. Make them walk through the band.
Let Brooks shoot a half-court shot at every game. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about the basketball because we weren't riding with them when they weren't good, and they still might not be good. I really have no idea.
Don't ask about our offense.
Don't ask about our offense. When we make it to the tournament, we'll talk about them again.
We're built for tournament play. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. So, one last thing that's not college football related. U.S. men's national team advances to the round of 16. All right, so now we've got looking ahead to the Gator Bowl, which is all signs are pointing to that being where we're going
I guess.
fourth time in 10 years. Ridiculous.
Is it really?
I think so. I know we played Michigan, we played Northwestern, we played Louisville, and now we're headed back.
Wow. That's goofy.
We beat Michigan and Louisville, lost to Northwestern.
Things that could be fun. The Gator Bowl could just pick Notre Dame. If the formerly Bloomin' Onion Bowl doesn't pick them, which apparently they have the right to do, which I hate that. So we'll probably be playing against, like, I don't even know. Would it be like Illinois?
I think that's what I saw.
I don't want to Belima.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more when it's official. I mean, right now we're pretty much locked into a Florida Bowl. that's not the Citrus Bowl. So it's either the former Outback Bowl or the Gator Bowl. Those are our options. And if it's something else, then it'll be Music City or Texas. But yeah, so I just want to update everybody. The pick'em for the year is over. We are going to pick 10 games today, but the pick'em for the year is over. I finished the year 90-45, and Hunter finished 86-49. Two really good records, all things considered. But Hunter does lose, and he has already purchased his Goodest Boy in the SIP t-shirt, which he will be posting a picture with on his Instagram.
Can we get a picture together for this? I've never just posted a picture of myself.
Sure. It has to be at a gas station, though.
Oh, God. Do you have a pair of Jordans?
This... you have to. Your pants have to sag a little bit, right?
God.
All right, Hunter, I'm really excited to see that.
I don't know
this
what
shirt,
this is going to do for me.
This shirt is going to age a little bit better than I thought it would. I really thought that he was going to do this after State won the A Bowl and Lane is at Auburn, but only one of those things happened. Yeah, so I won the pick'em. I get to soak that in and see Hunter embarrass himself on Instagram. Little shout out from last week. Yeah, little shout out from last week though. Brooks Taylor, Drew Robinson, and Courtney Taylor all tie at 8-7 because we did 15 games last week. I also finished 8-7, so I'm up there with them. And Hunter, you finished 6-9, even after 2 changes to your pick'em.
Nice.
I think you would have been 6-9 either way.
Yeah.
But
I need you to choose the tiebreaker of Brooks, Drew, and Courtney.
Days having the last name Taylor.
Dang, Drew. In reverse order.
Man, Brooks got him. Okay. All right. So
I've put no thought into any of these except for the ones that matter.
We're gonna rapid fire these.
I'm not even writing these down.
Nope. There's no point. So these are our 10 conference championship games. We have 5 of the group of 5 and the 5 Power 5 teams.
You only did get the championship games. Look at you.
I didn't want to do Buffalo and Akron.
Or New Mexico State and
Valparaiso. I actually put them on here and I was like, those aren't champion. Joe Moorhead's not in a championship game. So literally, I know I say this a lot, but literally rapid fire here. Game number 1, North Texas at UTSA.
Meep meep.
UTSA. Game number 2, number 11, Utah versus USC in Las Vegas.
Lincoln.
All right, USC. All right, game number 3, we've got number 10, Kansas State versus TCU.
Lickety lickety zoo zoo. Hoo wah wah hoo.
I'm going Kansas State. Game number 4, Toledo at Ohio. I'm going Toledo.
Go Rockets.
And it's in Detroit, by the way, because that's going to make a difference. Game number 5, we've got a rematch. Number 22, UCF at number 18, Tulane.
Roll Tide.
I'm going UCF. Game number 6, we got Coastal Carolina at Troy because JMU got screwed.
Yeah, we have to protect you by not letting you get in the postseason. For that, give me Troy.
Give me Troy. All right, game number 7, we got number 14,
Georgia.
LSU. Number 1, Georgia. Game number 8, we got Fresno State at Boise State.
Jake Hayner's last ride.
Give me Boise State. All right, game number 9, Purdue at number 2, Michigan.
This doesn't matter. Purdue.
Go in Michigan.
Boiler up.
Game number 10, number 9, Clemson versus UNC.
Gene Chizik coaches for one team, Clemson.
These two teams are not very good. I'm going to go Clemson. All right, so we rapid fired those, and now let's rapid fire a couple Instagram questions and get out of here.
Okay, pull this up.
Longest episode on record, and
I actually recorded a 2-hour episode.
Shut up.
With no
our longest episode. All right. 2 questions here from Brooks Taylor, and we will get out of here. Our actual winner from last week in the pick'em. Undoubtedly. So Brooks Taylor says, look ahead to next year's schedule yet? Yes, we have. So 8 home games for the first time, maybe
Possibly
ever. I really don't know the answer to that. But our non-conference is Southeastern Louisiana, Western Michigan, Arizona, and
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss, all home games there. A really favorable SEC home slate. We have LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, and then we're at and Kentucky at home. At South Carolina, at Auburn, at Arkansas, at A&M. It's very favorable, and with the veteran leadership we have coming back on both sides from that we know of now, it's really looking like 9 wins is not going to be the hardest thing in the world. I mean, we could be looking at like a 10-win season if things fall the right way.
Another year, another 8-4, but 10-2 is a real possibility.
Yeah, I mean 8-4 is going to happen, but 10-2 could. So we're really excited looking ahead at the schedule. 8 home games just seems illegal, but anyway. And then Brooks Taylor, another question. Bowl predictions and opponent. As we've mentioned, it's not really official yet, but it's looking like we're going to stay in Florida, probably at our good friend, the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to do it for this episode. It was a long one. It was a weird one, but it was a weird week in college football. And it's only going to get weirder from here as the transfer portal heats up, as coaching searches probably are going to heat up as well. And Hunter even mentioned a rumor the other day that an unexpected SEC coach will be retiring in the next few days. So whether that's mega fatty Sam Pittman or or Nick Saban or Mike Leach or Mark Stoops, whoever it is, we're super excited to see where that goes, or if it was just another bullcrap rumor on a message board. But yeah, thanks for listening. We'll be back next time on Going for Two with Jack Taylor. Thanks. I dropped a mega fatty.
Sam Pittman wears 3 shirts.
Gets abused on Going for Two.
Dude, what if he blocks us?
I hope he does. Rat poison.
Is this our first time to do like a postseason episode of Going for Two? In any sport?
So. We usually just stop.
we keeping on doing this?
Yeah, if Luke doesn't blacklist us on Spotify.
Luke, more like
listens to Fallout podcast.
More like poop.